Hello beautiful people, this video is about what is strategy implementation. So strategy implementation isn't just about rollout of your strategy. I've always thought that the only thing that really should be rolled out is carpets and rugs. But strategy implementation is about where the rubber meets the road, where the strategy becomes real and tested. And it's also where most strategies fall apart. In this episode, we're going to define what strategy execution actually involves, how it differs from strategy formulation, and why the execution layer and executional intelligence are critical to making your strategy real and successful. Hi, I'm Jennifer Kenny. I'm the best-selling author of The Innovation Mindset and award-winning author of 100% Capacity. I work primarily with teams in technical, complex environments, helping them bring projects to successful fruition, bring strategies to successful fruition, and deliver real value. So let's talk about strategy implementation. Strategy implementation is defined as the process of translating your organization's strategic vision and goals into coordinated, executable actions that deliver real results. I'm defining it as coordinated, executable actions that deliver real results. It's not just about delivering on tasks. We can roll out tasks across the organization all we wish. Sometimes they will become disjoint, convoluted, they will lose context, and we won't deliver successfully. So strategy execution isn't just about delivering tasks, it's about orchestrating a system where people know what to do, how to coordinate with each other, and how to navigate obstacles. Implementation lives in what I refer to as the execution layer, where promises are made, clarity is aligned, and trust is built together or broken. So think of how your organization operates. There are two operating systems running in your organization. There's a visible one, which we mostly consider to be the one, and there's the invisible one, which we really have not been trained to see. The visible one that we see is the org charts, the project management tools, the project plans, the Slack chats, the Teams chats, the meetings, the decision-making matrices, the RASIC matrices, all the things that we use, the sort of tools of execution that we use. And we have made all of those visible. What they are attempting to manage and design for is the invisible part of it. So think of it like an iceberg. About 10% of the top of the iceberg that's above the water is what we are trying to use to manage the 90% that's under the water. It seems a little insane because it is. The execution layer is everything that sits below that. It is everything that actually allows us to get work done, enables us to get work done. And it is the layer of conversations, coordination, commitment, trust building, promises, offers, co-invention, co-collaboration, co-creation that happen on a daily basis that are an invisible process to us because they are so ubiquitous and they're happening so fast. We try and manage them from that top visible 10% of the operating layer of our organizations. Then we wonder why implementation fails, and implementation fails because we're seeing there are invisible breakdowns that we don't have any line of sight into that are happening across our organization. When we're looking to implement a strategy, implementation fails not due to the quality or success potential of the strategy, but due to implementation breakdowns and failure, execution layer breakdowns and failures. Let me talk to you about what some of those are. They're missed handoffs, where think about it like a relay race, and when someone is about to take off from a relay race and someone else hands them the baton, what they're doing is they're waiting for that handoff to happen. Many times inside organizations, those handoffs don't happen effectively. Work gets done and it gets put into a shared resource or a shared library, and the box gets checked to say that it was done. The missed handoffs that we have, the lack of coordination, the lack of coherence of our execution layer produces many, many breakdowns over the period of a project. And what happens with those is we're then left with dealing with the breakdowns, but we're dealing with them way after the work has been completed. It might not have been the right work. It might not have been delivered to the right person. It might not have adhered to the right standards. It might not have hit the right metrics. It might not have delivered on satisfaction for the person who asked for it in the first place. The other thing that we see very commonly is vague ownership. So we try and manage our ownership through RACIC charts. And RACIC is useful as a sort of getting started mechanism for understanding roughly who's responsible for what. But what I have found is the speed that we are moving at today, the complexity of the projects that we are working in, that our RACIC charts are no longer enough. They serve us initially to sort of get the lay of the land, but what happens over the duration of a project is people move and step into different roles and responsibilities to be able to support and help each other as the complexity of the project increases and as the need for speed increases, as we meet our deadline, as we meet or don't meet or get closer to our deadlines. And so what happens is, if we put vague ownership into the middle of that, who's responsible for what is the chain of responsibilities in there, and we assign people responsibility, but they haven't necessarily picked that responsibility up the way you might pick up a baton in a relay race. They haven't picked it up because it's on a list somewhere that they haven't gotten to yet, and they've got a bunch of other things that they're already responsible for. They're working in overwhelm, they're working as fast as they can, and so we've lots of missed and dropped responsibilities because of the vague ownership and the lack of real commitment that human beings are able to make to each other if we start looking at this in terms of executional intelligence in the execution layer. We also have lots of assumptions around alignment. So that shows up in terms of, I might be working on a project and I would make a commitment to the project lead that I was going to get X done. I turn around, I expect to have 10, 20, 30, 40 people behind me who are my resources to help me actually be able to deliver on that. Over time, as I start engaging with them and I start asking them to do the work in conjunction with me, I'm already in the delivery phase as far as my boss is concerned, but now I'm scrambling to pull together the resources to do it because half of my team's been borrowed by someone else, another half of it is on leave or vacation, another half of my team don't have the skill sets that I'm looking for, and so I'm left invariably having made a commitment to do something and scrambling to actually find the resources. So when you hear someone on a project team complaining loudly about resources, listen that it's probably missed handoffs, vague ownership and assumed alignment more likely than it is resources. We're throwing resources at problems into a system that's fundamentally broken. The other thing that happens as we do this is we erode trust. When we erode trust, what happens is people are less likely to go that extra mile, use that discretionary effort to get something done, and we begin to distrust each other, and as a result of that we have missed conversations, we have coordination that didn't happen, we have breakdowns that happen that weren't declared, and so mistakes that are made that nobody wants to talk about. And so there's a growing lack of trust within the team, and it creates this environment where a lot of stuff just gets buried until the absolute last minute in a project. The other thing that I touched on a moment ago is unseen coordination breakdowns. So a breakdown is something that happens unexpectedly. Our intentions might be great around delivering what it is that we're doing, but a breakdown happens, for the example I gave a moment ago, I've made a commitment, now I turn around to the 10 people that are supposedly my resources for getting the work done, and I discover I really only have 3 full-time resources to enable me to be able to do this, and I'm scrambling to find resources in other parts of the team who may not meet the skill set that I'm looking for. And so that's a breakdown. Breakdowns happen as a natural part of human beings working together in fast, complex technical environments, in many environments, not just in ours, but they happen as a natural part of the process, and our ability to be able to manage those and understand them and recover from them really quickly is an incremental part and an instrumental part in the success of our project. So when you see people complaining about that they don't trust another department, when you see people saying that they don't have the right resources that they need, what you'll recognize is those are breakdowns in the execution layer. Those are the missed handoffs, the vague ownership, the assumed alignment, the trust erosion, and the unseen coordination breakdowns. So most execution breakdowns happen from lack of clarity, not really from lack of talent, from lack of clarity around what is my execution layer? Has it been designed? Do we have people working in the execution who have executional intelligence? And executional intelligence is really a new and emerging intelligence that we are learning to build as fast as we possibly can, because AI is speeding up everything that we're doing. And soon we're going to have teams that are going to be mixed teams of AI agents and humans working together. And AI will be fast, but it will also be inaccurate and bluntly annoying if we don't have clear understanding of how we're designing our execution. Executional intelligence, think about it like your strategy's operating system. How do I put my strategy into place and make it work? One of the things to recognize in here is executional intelligence, and I've done a video on it called What is Executional Intelligence in another part of this series, but it is translational thinking where I can translate goals into action steps. And by that I don't mean delivering a full-blown project plan. I mean translate it into action steps that lives in the commitments of other human beings. Resource orchestration, which is aligning time, money, and people. And by that, again, I don't mean just grabbing resources so that I can say that they're mine, so that I can deliver on a project, but much more around getting commitments from people that they are capable of delivering on that will allow your project to be successful. Constraint navigation and momentum maintenance are also two critical factors as you start thinking about your execution capability. And constraint navigation is adapting to the reality in real time. The reality for us now is moving so incredibly fast. AI is going to make it move even faster. If we are simply accelerating a broken system, we are going to become more unraveled. The wheels are going to come off the bus sooner and faster. If we, however, position ourselves to be able to build executional intelligence and understand what the execution layer actually looks like, what we're doing is then we're setting ourselves up to be able to have strategy successfully implemented. So when you think about strategy implementation and designing a path to successful strategic outcomes, really encourage you to look at the execution layer and look at executional intelligence. I'm doing a series of 20 videos on this, and hopefully some of them will help you. I also have a freebie for you, which is a white paper called Execution by Design, encouraging you to really start thinking about execution as something that you can design very effectively and carefully, looking at the execution layer, that 90% of the iceberg that we really don't have good visibility into at the moment, or haven't been trained how to have good visibility into. There's a link to it down below in the comments. It's also www.jenniferkenny.com/execution, and it's also available under the free resources on my website. Download it, have a look at it, let me know what you think about it, let me know if it helps you and if this thinking helps you and these practices help you as you look to successfully implement your strategy, successfully realize your project. Hopefully some of these videos will help you and this thinking will help you. I look forward to hearing from you and I wish you the best of luck. Take care.